Triple Protection Aquafresh.
Meet a...
Page 748. And join in the Shabbat Shmirah, SI 9, I lift up my eyes unto the mountains.
Yes.
This is a melody that Rabbi Kendall introduced me to from his Sephardic heritage. And if you are familiar with it, sing along. If you're not, wait till it comes back around, you get another chance to sing. Yesh Merash Shabbat. Please turn to page 734. Yom Zel Yisrael. This day belongs to Israel, a day of joy, a day of jubilee.
come to my mind at this moment. Not the least of which is the fact that I was not here, of course, Rosh Hashanah. And so I decided in this space provided for me to share with you my 3 Rosh Hashanah sermons preached in Miami. So let me begin. And back to you. Truth be told, I am delighted to see all of you as the evening progresses and unfolds. I will have some things to say, but right now for Adlakat Nerot and Kiddush, let me call forward Scott Sterling and his family, Mother and Dad, Sandy, Stephen, Colin. Scott will become bar mitzvah tomorrow. Sandy.
As we light these Sabbath candles, we receive the warmth of God's light. The warmth of these flames can be likened to the love of God and God's love for us. A little bit of this flame shines in all of us. Together we bask in its reflected light. We share this light and love with others. By lighting these candles, we share our light with the people of the world. Here there is a brightness and an incandescence which makes darkness impossible. And yet we know that the world outside is not like this. There are many dark places filled with gloom. We see it in places where injustice conceals the light of freedom and human dignity. We see it in places where bitterness and hurt eclipse the light of optimism and hope. There's a beautiful saying in the Talmud. It captures the spirit of our Shabbat. A light for one is a light for 100. We welcome the Shabbat of light. Asher Kishanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu L'Hagat Ner Shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy through mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Wine comes to teach us about joy and happiness, about responsibility and remembering. We celebrate this day, our Sabbath, and its holiness. We give thanks to the liberating power that redeemed Israel from Egyptian bondage. May our worship on this night make us aware of the blessing and promise of freedom. May it lead us to be loyal to our people and our faith and to be unselfish toward all human beings. May this wine serve as a reminder of cups overflowing with kindness, hope, and compassion. May its sweetness awaken in us a will to serve our God with fullness of heart and willing spirits. May this Shabbat be as sweet as this wine. May our people's lives reflect that taste which speaks so clearly of righteousness, devotion, commitment, and shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Pri Hagafen.
Amen.
Praised are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine.
We join on page 777.
Mitzvot
expression mazel tov comes from? Kali. When you say mazel tov to someone today, it really means good luck. That's wishes. But in truth, it harkens back to the time when our people believed that some things in life were by chance and other things in life were preordained. The word mazal doesn't mean luck. It really is an astrological term. It means constellation. And like the Big Dipper or what have you. And the truth of the matter is, the hope was when you say mazal tov to someone, that there will be a favorable star, a favorable constellation shining on you at a particular moment. So mazel tov in two different ways. One is good luck, and the other is that tomorrow we'll see a favorable constellation in your life, all right? Page 736 in the prayer book.
I'd like to ask Randy Wapner and David Presser to come forward, representing
Rabbi, as unusual as it is for you to be on the receiving end, it's strange for us to be on the giving end today. How time flies when the kids that you were teaching just a few short moments ago are now teaching your own children.
It wasn't too long ago at confirmation when you taught us about our religion and as well as how to better ourselves as Jews.
And even before that, when our bar and bat mitzvot, and there again, you stood by our sides and led us through the service.
Ever since David and myself have arrived at the temple, you've been our teacher, our friend, and our role model.
On behalf of the religious school, we'd like to present you with these 2 cards, which have been signed by the children and ourselves. And we'd like these to remind you of the positive influence that you've had on the children and our religious school, and to let you know that we'll miss you.
We admire your hard work, dedication, and love that you bring to the youth of this temple.
Lord, thank you, Lord. Page 146 of the prayer. I have no rhythm tonight. Usually you see in the kind of a little more volume, it's either me or the machine that doesn't have the volume. Usually there's a certain rhythm to a service that I have come to both appreciate and enjoy. And I've tried to see things flow from one thing to another. When I tell you that I'm completely thrown off and discombobulated, to use the technical term, I'm not fooling. I really am. This is a new adventure for me tonight. But that's good. Come on out. We'll finish the service. Come on. I've stalled as long as I can. The
This is interesting to you.
Eternal God, how majestic is your name in all the earth.
Vast universe, who can know it but mind can fathom it? Yet within us abides a measure of your spirit. You are remote, but oh, how near, ordering the stars in the vast solitudes of the dark, yet whispering in the mind that you're closer than the air we breathe. Love we turn to you, and in the dark of evening, seek the light of your presence.
For you have made us with the rest of the mind, and crowned us with glory and honor.
Ahavat Olam. The renderings of the Shema that I have always loved has been a kind of round in which it is sung over and over again. It really can't be done effectively unless you put your prayer books at your pews and join hands with the people who are next to you. And in so doing, we begin to create the oneness about which the Shema speaks. Of the second paragraph of the Shema,
Yahweh.
Read the English together on page 149. You shall love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. For I, the Lord, am your God. Let you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, a world waiting still to be redeemed, give us, Lord, the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and earth.
For the high heavens declare his glory, and the earth reveals God's justice and love.
From Egypt, the house of bondage, we were delivered. At Sinai, amid peals of thunder, we bound ourselves to God's purpose. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, we survived oppression and exile time and again, overcoming the forces that could have destroyed us.
Our enemies are many, our foes are great.
So we pray that this vision will never fade. Let us continue to work for the day when all nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we sing with one accord as Israel sang this song at the shores of the sea. One of our oldest and most exclusive prayers on the table.
Oh,
God of Israel, may our worship on this day help us to grow in loyalty to our covenant with you and to the way of life it demands, the way of gentleness and justice, the path of truth and of peace. V'shamu b'nei Yisrael asher ba'am Israel should keep the Sabbath, serving it in every generation, a covenant for all time. Page 152 through page 157, we turn inward now to pray the service of the heart. When you concluded reading these pages, why, you can be seated. We'll read them standing. each in our own hearts and each in our own way, that we become silence. Right?
I'll ask Jen Dallas and Judy Meisel to come forward now. The rabbi side of the podium.
Rabbi, 6 years ago when I came here, I didn't know what was, I came from a background that was, I think this was my first Reform synagogue I was in. You assured me that everything was going to be all right. And you gave me really anything I wanted to do. You respected my beliefs. You were wonderful. You were great. But I didn't know. I came here, there were 6 children, and I said to you, Rabbi, on Monday morning, there were 2 children. Where are the children going to come from? He said, well, the program is good. You're going to get them. Without your guidance, we couldn't have had them. Out of the 6 families, there were only 3 that were members at that time. Now we have 58 families in the program, all are members, and the people that were before them, and they're all active in the congregation. And it's through your guidance and leadership. I could never have done the things that I did with the programs without you standing by me and saying, go ahead, do it, I'll help you. And you did. There were many times when I was scared and said, Judy, you can do it, I'll help you. And you did it. You created in Bet HaYeladim in our preschool a wonderful place, a place for children where when I come on the playground, it is such an exciting place. But more exciting is that the parents who leave their children leave every morning feeling a good feeling that the children are secure under the guidance of Jane and Baptist. And you've built a school here that is fantastic. And for that, I want to thank you and wish you nothing but the best health and happiness and mazel. And you should have lots of good, cool summers in Miami. From strength to strength.
I agree everything that you said up to that point.
Fred and I want to thank you for making us feel at home here in Santa Barbara. And this school will remain hopefully for generations. Please God. And you have built something in Santa Barbara fantastic for little children and their families. Thank you.
I feel a little at a loss for words. So I'll just present you with this. It's something that the children make for you. And they all have their hands on it. And they love you very much.
Don't go, because I really have to say something about these two people. Although Judy's words were delightfully generous and kind, the truth of the matter is it really has been these two who have been the guiding lights of this preschool of ours, plus some very heavily vested lay leadership who were willing to take that leap of faith, that institutional risk, and make it happen. So if there is a youth program, a preschool program here, the foundation was created and in fact was allowed to come to complete fruition by the people standing next to me. And for that, this congregation really is eternally grateful. Thank you.
On this Shabbat, this very special Shabbat, I have a couple of honors that I get to be here for. But I just wanted to say a word or two in that this Shabbat is a very special one for us, for my family, for Connie, and Joshua, and Anthony, and David, to be here to share this lovely evening with this lovely man and say thank you for all these years. It's my honor also to reflect on the two individuals that were here earlier for the preschool. The work with our children that the rabbi has done has gone just beyond, not just with the preschool children, but far beyond. Working with the children through the bar and bat mitzvah and the confirmation, our children of this congregation, all of us have a lot to be proud of. And it's this honor that I have tonight to introduce the next presenter, who's worked with the rabbi with most of these children, Devorah Sprecher.
I'm really glad that I have the opportunity to say a few words to you tonight. I was supposed to say in behalf of the teachers, but you know, I'm saying in behalf of myself. I'm just talking to you, my feelings to you. Short Dvorah, as you always jokingly but lovingly said to me. An inside joke.
Short. She said short.
But we have so many inside jokes that we have developed working together for the last 10 years. It became easy for us just to look at each other and to know what we mean. Thinking what to say to you tonight made me search into myself, and snapshots of events started flickering in my mind, illuminating in a bright aura of our relationship as it unfolded over the years. Do you remember, Rabbi, 10 years ago, we both stood leaning over the stage in the social hall during one of your first Onyx Shabbat with us. You captivated me with your aspiration and dreams as how to implement our then literally non-existing Bnei Mitzvah program. I remember that moment very clearly because this was a turning point in my life. I was so taken by you that right then, there and then I said, yes, I will do it. And it was evening, and it was morning, and it was very good. Come on. And it was not just very good for the children and the families and the congregation. It was very special for me, and you did it also. You trusted me and believed in my abilities to do the job, thus installed in me the confidence I was lacking in myself. And that was just the beginning of a very warm, supportive relationship that has developed between us ever since then. There are other snapshots that reflect this relationship. In 1981, I decided to go back to school and pursue a dream I had. I began taking classes at UCSB, some things that wasn't so easy, at the same time raising two teenagers, daughters, and teaching at the temple. It was not easy, but you kept encouraging me. But do you remember, Rabbi, one day, and I'm going to share it with your congregation. More people should know your undercover good deeds. I told you one day that I will not enroll next quarter at UCSB because of financial difficulties. And then I went down to my class to teach Bnei Mitzvah. A few minutes later, you walked into my classroom and you handed me an envelope. This is it. Obviously, it means a lot to me. I probably will keep it for the rest of my life. And it read, Dvorah, do not open until you reach home. That evening, I could hardly wait until I reached my kitchen. I opened the envelope and a check for fell out of it. But it wasn't the check that made me cry. It was what you wrote. Dvorah, you get that degree. Enroll UCSB this quarter and see me next quarter. I refuse to allow an excellent Jewish educator to slip through the cracks. I was crying then, but I'm trying not to cry now. I knew then that I must graduate, if not for me, at least for you. Not to disappoint you. Yes, it was important for me to please you, because you cared. More we work together, more confidence you have installed in me. In 1984, just looking wishfully for my graduation, for taking it easy, my telephone rang. Hello, this is Marlene Berenstein. Dvorah, we nominated you to be our next vice president of rituals. Will you accept it? No, I cannot do it. I don't know. I never did it before. I have no experience. But the rabbi recommended you. Continue, Marlene. He said now when you are done with the university, you have plenty of time. I still was not sure. I had to hear it from you. I promised Marlene to call her back as soon as I talked to you. I called. And the rest is history. You believed in me. I took the job. And we continue to work together, and our inside jokes never cease to amaze me. especially your constant teasing about my almost non-existent accent. Crying and laughing with me, but most of all, always being there for me.
No one in the course of the life of this congregation really has done more to enhance the Hebrew learning, Hebrew studies of our children, and done so almost single-handedly. And it's always been done with a great deal of love. Those of you who've had bar mitzvah children know full well that each and every kid receives a full measure of Devorah's devotion and attention, and over and above that, the product that she produced was always one which was thrilled and ready and excited about the occasion. So there are many treasures I leave behind in Santa Barbara. This is one.
Now, on behalf of the sisterhood, its near permanent president will not the moment Sylvia Orestes.
First, I would like to thank Carol Nelson, our sisterhood president, for giving me this honor to represent sisterhood, and I've always deemed it an honor to represent our sisterhood. She said, in asking me, that since I served 5 years of the Rabbi's 10 years service here as sisterhood president, I deserved this honor. So I accepted and I thanked her. I would like to thank someone else now. I would like to thank my late husband, Harold. When he was president of this congregation, he was very concerned for its future. And he felt that a change of rabbinical leadership was necessary. And so, having the courage of his convictions and the board of directors, most of whom supported him, they went out on a great effort and a great deal of time in this program. Almost 2 years until a committee was chosen to search for a new rabbi. You are the result of all that time and effort put in by all these people. Rabbi Kendall. Harold would have been very proud. Personally, we have shed a few tears together, a great deal of laughter, and I shall miss our laughing episodes, interludes. And on behalf of Sisterhood,
Sisterhood's mascot.
On behalf of Sisterhood, so beautifully wrapped in silver, you have always been there for us. We've come to you with our problems, asked for help, for advice. You've been there, you've listened, you've given it to us. You've supported all our endeavors, and we just say thank you very much. We're very grateful. And to show our gratefulness, we give you this beautifully wrapped in silver, which is a beautiful silver Kiddush cup, which I hope you will use for many years in good health. You, Joe Beth, Jesse, Becky, you should only have happiness, good health, and joy in your new home and in your new temple.
Amen. Thanks to you, and thanks to Sisterhood. I have a lot of memories of Sylvia, some of which I really can't share in this particular time and place. But you know, the love that I had for Harold was a special kind of love, and he was a special guy. And I don't think that there are too many times that I step out on this pulpit without looking back into this right-hand section, actually left-hand, as you sit, and remembering precisely where you sat at every service with you. And those early years before of my tenure here, before Harold's passing, were leavened by his presence, and thankfully that leavening continued with you. Again, much love.
This is so great. I get to talk and you have to listen. I wanted to.
Don't fall down.
No. Hold your hand. I can see how it feels. I wouldn't be in Santa Barbara were it not for you. I remember a 24-year-old cantor who was hunting around for his own congregation and getting a number in Santa Barbara. And the rabbi there said, you know, we're looking for a chazan. And we'd like to have you send a tape, resume, I'll tell you, for a standard procedure. And I got a call from him. It was a little strange. It was, well, you know, we'd like to meet you. And I understand the hesitancy, but I came up for an interview, eventually got the job. It wasn't until much later that he told me they really couldn't stand the cassette. I said, well,
It was the worst tape. Anyway.
It says something about their taste that they had to. And yet, in spite of that tape, and probably because he didn't know what was coming, Rabbi Kendall welcomed me as a colleague, welcomed me into his home. He enjoyed it, and shared some of the most fascinating congregational secrets with me he had ever known, and treated me with all, as a 24-year-old kid, as a chazan, as a cantor, as a colleague, something that I've always treasured. One short memory from High Holidays a couple of years ago. We had a new cordless microphone, and Rabbi Kendall was very mechanically inclined, as I'm sure you're all aware. Should have saved some of this stuff for Sunday night. Had this new microphone on, and he couldn't quite figure out how to work it. And finally, he went into a long discourse about how it had 14 buttons and switches and dials, and he required a master's degree in electronic circuitry to work. I leaned into the mic and I said, two switches. Everybody chuckled. And he looked up at me and he said, that's an example of rabbinic hyperbole and cantorial indiscretion. We did that on Rosh Hashanah. And the fact that we never took the act to a comedy store in Los Angeles is still a great regret of mine. But I would say that, although I don't know that you will miss the cantorial indiscretion, I will miss the rabbinic hyperbole. It has been a pleasure.
I will tell you that we have shared a tremendous amount, some of which also cannot be articulated at this time and place. There are also times when we wanted to probably do away with one another, but that is the product, in fact, of an intense relationship in which you deal primarily, after nuts and bolts have been taken care of, you deal primarily in the area of emotion. And so it is a testimony to your forbearance and mine. Not to mention our humility, which knows no bounds. And probably is the one characteristic for for which we are both known throughout the it goes without saying that the back on the beach. Now, before Stephen Lee speaks again, I just have to say that the one thing that, and maybe you're not going to, you're going to mention anything about your spouse, and you planning on saying that?
No.
Well, in fact, one of the things that I wanted to mention is saying how special tonight was, but in truth, the relationship between the Kendalls and the Wieners is going to continue somewhat, because the Union of American Hebrew Congregations is just on the verge of publishing, of all things, a baby calendar. The artwork having been done by Connie Wiener. The text having been done by yours truly. So we'll be together in print. All right. Go ahead.
Well, Rabbi Kendall's participation in this congregation goes through so many different venues. We've talked about preschool, we've talked about the name and stuff, the confirmation classes, and the spiritual life of the congregation. But his outstretched hand goes far beyond these walls. He's always offered the community of Santa Barbara a voice, a Jewish voice, be it a communication with churches and temples of the community, or far beyond those walls, the state of California or the U.S. government. Be it the newspapers or the politicians, Rabbi Kendall has been there to be there for us, to voice our concerns with accuracy and consistency. And through these years, he's built a special friendship, a friendship that lasted and will last, with someone who's special to most of us, I believe, in this room. And I have the distinct honor right now to introduce to you our state senator, Gary Hart.
Thank you very much. It's a distinct honor for me to be in this beautiful temple once again and to share in this Shabbat service and have an opportunity to participate in this presentation to Rabbi Kendall. I'll make it very brief. Obviously, all of you know of his tremendous leadership to this congregation. But I want to say, as a non-Jew and as someone who's been active in the Santa Barbara community for so many years, Rabbi Kendall's leadership outside these walls is also of great importance to all of us. There are so many organizations that he has played a leadership role in, from Planned Parenthood to Transition House to Hospice to St. Vincent's School. And I particularly have appreciated his commentaries on Israel and the Middle East. His friendship and counsel has been special to many of us who are not of the Jewish faith. And I have, Rabbi Kendall, here a resolution that was passed by my colleagues in the state legislature that I would like to present at this time. I understand there's going to be a roast this Sunday night, and this is a way to prepare you for that roast. This is saying all of the nice things. There may be some other things that are said on Sunday night. But again, we are very appreciative for all of your contributions to our community. You're obviously going to have your hands full and many challenges in Miami. Your presence will always be felt here in Santa Barbara, and we wish you a great day. Thank you.
On the program it said, I have to read it to you. It says special guest makes seventh presentation. Secret. He is special guest. Your presence here was a secret to me. Of course, a 6'5" state senator seated in the front row.
My Hebrew is impeccable.
It was. You almost got it. You almost got it. I've had many sad moments in Santa Barbara. Some of them have obviously been because of the losses of their friends. One of the saddest moments took place last year when this man, who has been such an incredible friend to our community, and whose very career has been an emblem of 99.9% of the ideals which our people enshrine, lost the House seat for this district. I will tell you that one of my fondest hopes will be to pick up the election results in the Miami Herald a year and a half hence, or next year actually, even better, the sooner the better, and read their election to this district.
And finally, representing the Board of Trustees, an old friend, past president of the congregation, Marlon Munson.
9 pages worth. Would you rather see it? 10 years ago, just about this time of year, arrived on the scene our new rabbi, Jonathan Kendall. He came to us with his wife, Jobette, Jessica, age 3, and Rebecca, a babe in arms, full of ideas, hopes, dreams, creative changes, ambition, spunk, and a wee bit of trepidation. We all anticipated, with a sense of excitement, the winds of change. We were introduced to humor from the pulpit, dynamism from the pulpit, politics from the pulpit, with subjects often too hot to handle. We were introduced to a speaker of immeasurable eloquence. Our congregants were exposed to outstanding scholars via our Friday night services and scholar in residence weekends, bringing us the giants of our movement, the giants of our times. Remember Alexander Schindler on our pulpit, Albert Vorspann, Dr. Lawrence Kushner, David Saperstein, or could we ever forget Elie Wiesel here on our own pulpit, all brought to us through the persistence of our rabbi. Our kids happily saw the initiation of the academy on Monday nights with the commitment to continue on to confirmation. Our confirmation classes then swelled. Can you even imagine this temple without the jewel in the crown, our preschool, Beit HaYeladim? The future of Judaism gleefully skipping through our corridors. Exciting innovations were happening daily. We at Congregation B'nai B'rith became a strong, articulate voice to the community at large. Our rabbi, so well respected for his tireless interfaith work. And couldn't we always count on a scorching letter to the news press or the LA Times speaking out on any of the injustices to our people? You put us on the map, and we're a people not to be fooled with, is what you told them. Our membership rolls more than doubled, families joined by the hundreds. Our holiday dinners filled to capacity, our standing room only forums, our community seders, all your idea. 10 years. 10 years, how can I in one short evening encapsulate all those 10 years? I can't possibly. But Rabbi Kendall, we will always honor your name in our temple. Always consider ourselves so lucky to have had you with us for 10 wonderful, growing, productive, splendid years. Always speak of you with respect, warmth, and with love. We wish a happy, fulfilled future for all of the Kendalls in Kendall, and send you off to them, hoping that they know how fortunate they are that we reluctantly let you go. On behalf of the Board of Directors,
Says he feels like Vanna White.
Indeed, on behalf of all of you, this entire congregation, I am both honored and privileged to have been chosen to present you with this gift. It is indeed an appropriate one, if you will open it. A tzedakah box, for it was you who so emphatically and so powerfully taught us the true meaning of tzedakah, of righteousness, through your very example. Your immeasurable hours of fundraising for this temple, of speaking worldwide and fundraising on behalf of the Jewish Federation, you, our champion of so many worthy causes, a prominent speaker and elicitor of funds for Operation Moses, the airlifting out of the Ethiopian Jews. We hope you will treasure this gift as we treasure our years with you as our spiritual leader. Thank you so much for giving us, with a very full heart, so very much. We love you.
I want to talk for a minute, a second, about this lady standing next to me. We had a remarkable 2 years together while she was president of this congregation. The sweetest thing of all was that we had wonderful years before you were president and wonderful years since. That the relationship has never altered or changed. The affection has never diminished. The love that exists between the Kendalls and the Bernsteins will continue long after next Sunday. And every congregation should be privileged at least once in its lifetime to have a president, to have a leader who cares as much, who is as deeply involved, who can speak to every age group, who can delight in every program, as has Marlon Bernstein. She is, in her own right, a gem, a jewel. And you and I were both blessed to have her. You are blessed to keep her. Thank you. It says here, JPK responds. It is a night filled with a great deal of conflicting emotion for me. I have to thank all of you who came forward this evening to make presentations. David Presser and Randy Wapner and Connie Wiener and her kindergarten class, and Jan, Judy, all of you, Devorah, Sylvia, Senator Hart, our Cantor, Stephen Wiener. Let me share something with you, which is in fact an emblem of my appreciation, and at the same time reflects the true matrix, the true base, which allows the engine of my rabbinate to run. In my life, I have had many heroes. And those heroes, by the way, often are transitory or transient. They change. And that doesn't have to do with my lack of loyalty. It's just that I change, and so too do my ideals from time to time. There are three people I have to speak of who, in fact, enabled me to do everything that I have done. They also have made all of the sacrifices necessary to be within the orbit of a clergy person's life. It is sometimes an absolute evanescent joy, and sometimes it is, you should pardon the expression, hell on wheels, because there is a mercurial bent to most clergy. You know that, I don't have to tell you that. And there is also a mercurial bent to congregational life in general. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes things are going beautifully, and sometimes everything that you do turns out to be ashes in your mouth. I have had the benefit, the blessing of three extraordinary women: JoBeth, Jessica, and Rebecca. And their true extraordinary character was played out in no uncertain terms this fall, when they left here, which was a nurturing place, because in fact, for JoBeth, this was the place in which she had lived the longest her entire life. This was really the only place the children had ever known. Jessie came here, as Marlon said, when she was 3, and Becky came when she was all of 6, 7 months old. And all of a sudden, this Abba and husband of theirs uprooted them and carried them off to what might as well have been the other side of the moon. There could not be two more different communities than Santa Barbara and Miami. And then, with an irony and almost a cruelty, I left them and came back here. They rose to the occasion. I return on next Sunday, the 19th, to a home that is filled with a great deal of love. Much of that love was fashioned, created, honed here within these walls. It's among the things that we take with us. It is among the things for which we are so grateful to all of you. But I must tell you that I am most grateful to them for tagging along with me on this odyssey that we take together, for being as good people as they are. They mean more to me than life itself. I had to say that tonight, not because really I had to, but because I wanted to. Because in fact, it has been a transition for them, much more so than it has been for me. After all, I've had the benefit of being here for a while, and back and forth. In that process, I have learned a great deal about their mettle, and I have learned a great deal about, a little bit about my own. I am so grateful to all of you for providing me with the opportunity of serving as your rabbi for these almost 10 years. You have given me the tools, you have provided me with the good fortune, and you will not be forgotten. The love that I have for you and the respect that I have for you, the affection, will continue surely all the days of my life. Thank you, my friends. In a lapse uncharacteristic, I neglected to call upon a member of our Board of Trustees to greet you and make announcements. But unfortunately, I don't know who got...
This is supposed to be Marlon Bernstein after the cottage, but that's...
I'm sorry. Well, after about, come on, Marlon, I've already illustrated that I'm not totally infallible.
Shabbat Shalom. It's been a very special evening, and I hate to have to make the announcements that kind of bring us all down to earth and hit us with all the everyday things. But Andy Duvendek has asked me to please make the announcement that we are in need of a proctor for this Tuesday evening at Transition House. We need someone to be there from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. And they will have the honor of serving as proctor with Rabbi Kendall. So please don't all rush to see Andy, but please, some of you, we do need someone. We would appreciate it if you would see Andy Duvendek after services and let her know that you would be willing to be there. I'd also like to call your attention to the Sisterhood is sponsoring a meeting on November 15th, this Wednesday, and it is a dialogue between Rabbi Kendall and Reverend Paul Kitlaus of the First Congregational Church. It is an interfaith coffee. There is no charge, and it is at 10 a.m. Also, for those of you who have sent checks and have reservations, therefore, for Kendall on Rye on Sunday evening, it begins at 6 p.m. For those of you who do not have reservations with a check-in, we are sold out. Shabbat Shalom. Oh yes, you can come to the roast at 7:30 and join in the fun. It should be wild.
Page 613. Our congregation, who we remember in these closing moments of our service. We say Kaddish tonight for Anna Roberts, and we commemorate on this Shabbat these yard sites: Rachel Bates, Leva Gersh, Irving Krasnow, David Kruger, Jacob Margolis, Ruth Percal, Etta Phillips, Abraham L. Seidler, Rose Slavin, Sarah Weiss, and all those dear ones whom we name silently in our hearts. As a congregation, we rise and hallow God's name together. Yisrael, Yisrael, Shneirah, Yom Divrach Yosef, Yom Lichma Yosef, V'chayecham v'yomecham v'chayech kol beis Yisrael, Ha'arav v'zman v'liv v'yimru amen, Yehi Shneirah v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'v'vv Yisnasei, Yisadar, Yisara, Yisalas, Shmei, Yishapuri Kuru, Le'elam, Yisrael, Chasad, Shirasa, Tush Chasad, Menachem Da'amiram, Yalam, Imu, Amen. Yidei Shalom, Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chaim, Aleinu, V'yal, Kol Yisrael, Imu, Amen. Osei Shalom, Bin Roma, Yasei Shalom, Aleinu, V'yal, Kol Yisrael, Imu, Amen. May Almighty God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, also allow peace to descend upon us and upon all who mourn and comfort and bereave wherever they may be. To this we say. Amen. Our service concludes with Adon Olam, which you will find on page 700 and, why is it that I always have a block on page 729 of the prayer book? On this exquisite tzedakah box, there is an inscription. It says, Shaddai V'hiyah L'negdi Tamid. I, the Lord, Almighty God, Shaddai, V'hiyah, will always be placed, eternally be placed before me. I have always looked out from this pulpit, and I have always seen God. Not God in the anthropomorphic sense, not God as an individual. I always have looked out under this pulpit and seen God reflected in your faces, working from the presumption that we are all created in God's image and after God's likeness. It will seem strange for a very long time not to look out from this pulpit and see you. I will tell you that you will be a part of my life in the pleasant, loving memories that have shaped and molded and animated my rabbinate and my personal life as well, below these 10 years. Again, I thank you.